off all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night
vVv Gaming.
Starcraft. We're currently tied at 1 game apiece. vVv Gaming playing impressive play, and it is going to be a Terran versus Protoss on MLG dual site.
Yeah, I've talked before about this matchup, how exciting it is if they can get into the late game when you've got Storms against EMP, against Colossi, against Vikings, all the different tech which tends to come out once these players get on 3 and 4 bases. But we'll see whether we have a short one or a long one here. It is just the 2-player map, so 2 spawning positions. We've got iPStylin spawning as the green Terran player in the eastern position, and as opponent, the winner of that last game, able to even up the series at 1 game apiece, is vVv's Hasuu spawning as the red Protoss.
Yes, so once again, we are going to have Christmas colors, and Hasuu not choosing his customary green. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I wish him still the best of luck, even though it's not the luck of the Irish, as I guess iPStylin was able to steal it away from him. And we'll see what's going to go down here. iPStylin looks like he will be setting up a front door supply depot. And meanwhile, it looks like Hasuu is going to be going for a low... No, he's not going for a low ground pylon. I'm just blind. Placing that pylon very, very close to his nexus.
Yeah, in this matchup, because there are no Zerg or Zerglings, they don't have to necessarily wall off, so everybody able to build things all over the map can be a little bit difficult to figure out what they're doing or where the buildings are coming. And we do see that 9 scout coming out for Hasuu, so I guess talk a little bit about the choices that Terran can make at this point in the game that would really necessitate that quick scout from Hasuu, or is it just all about the annoyance of the probe on the SCVs at this point?
I think it's really just the annoyance. Hasu's not going to really be able to see and do all too much. Hasuu should be pulling away with that 1 probe. The probe is down to 0 shields, but a shield or a shieldless probe still can cause a lot of harassment, and it's forcing iPStylin to just pull away SCVs as well, hoping that and Hasuu is just pretty much hoping that he can disrupt his particular build order and then get perhaps even a kill on an SCV, as we finally see an SCV coming in from iPStylin as well. iPStylin now taking a look around. It looks like that 1 SCV is currently stuck there, but he's going to get in some damage on a pylon. Very superficial. Not much is going to happen here, as both players just trying to feel each other out and make sure they're going to play a pretty straight up game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here whether Hasuu, after placing a cybernetics core, goes for that second gas, whether he goes for that zealot to try to take down the SCV. I know in the last game he waited until a cybernetics core is finished, and Hasuu actually placing down a pylon in the base of iPStylin right next to the barracks, and that's going to block momentarily any add-on on that barracks. We'll see whether iPStylin does decide to lift that up and then place down an add-on. And it's also going to add a little bit of scouting information. Even if he does lift up, Hasuu going to know exactly when he does and what he's building. And now we see Hasuu being even more annoying with that probe and stealing a gas from the Terran player. So in a simulator going down, a probe attacking SCVs, a pylon already down, that's a lot of investment in harassment. We'll see if it pays off for Hasuu.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, though, Hasuu did not scout out the factory. He just got killed before the probe was able to gain sight. Very nice for iPStylin to be able to do that there. But there is that bit of a gas block, and that is going to hold it up for quite a while, as we now see a reactor being added. And this may just be straight up tank and marine play, perhaps off of a 1-base push. You can see Hasuu now getting some additional gateways and also getting his Vespene Geyser. It looks like Hasuu perhaps is going to be doing a 3-gate expand once more and focus more on Zealots and Stalkers as opposed to Sentries, as we saw in the last matchup.
Yeah, if it is a tank marine play, will the tanks and siege tech really be delayed here, though, as iPStylin has been running off that 1 refinery for so long, just now taking down the assimilator with the few marines he has, and we'll see whether he immediately goes for that second gas. Yes, he does. So I feel like his siege tank production might be hampered a little bit here, and he is going for the low ground bunker, trying to defend against this Stalker, and Hasuu doing a nice job harassing once again with this Stalker, taking down a little bit of HP on the SCVs and the Marines here.
Yeah, but unfortunately for him, iPStylin will have a siege tank up in just a moment. The Stalker's going to try to walk up there, get a little bit of damage onto a Marine, and then perhaps pull back down, able to get off an easy kill there as the Stalker takes a little bit of natural or actual damage to his hit points. It looks like the proxy pylon is up. We should be getting some units warping in right behind this. This is going to be that a three-gate expand that I was talking about, but he is now going for Zealots and Sentries as well. I don't know if I quite agree with that. You're really looking for a little bit more damage output, and the Sentries are not going to be able to do that at all, especially with that Stalker already kind of low on shields and that bunker up on that high ground.
This is interesting. I think the sentries might just be there for a sort of a contain. I mean, if he can get sort of a unlimited force field, oh, nice force fields there, going to be taken down. It looks like all these Marines, I'm not sure if he'll even lose a sentry, and I think that these sentries may be able to keep the pressure in the force field down on this ramp, as iPStylin just doesn't have a lot here to really push out against force fields.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have anything to push out for force fields, those siege tanks and this Marine push is not going to be very effective at all. You can see that the proxy pylon is being left alone now, and Hasuu knows that he shouldn't siege his opponent for that long, deciding to pull back. iPStylin does have a slight food advantage, 50 compared to 51, but the longer this game goes, the better it will be for Hasuu, as he's now sitting on 28. But the Marine siege tanks are now pushing out. They're going to bypass this pylon, and this may be very, very bad news, as Hasuu does see these Marines now coming in.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough to deal with. He might actually have to pull some probes to defend this. He does have some probes in the natural at this point, but he doesn't have a lot in the way of units. He does have sentries. They don't fare so well against siege tanks, and there are 2 tanks, siege tech about to finish, and iPStylin following this up with a starport as well. It looks like Hasuu might actually just abandon this Nexus, and that's a very interesting decision.
Yeah, I would at least hope Hasuu would chrono boost out those warp gates a little bit more. It looks like the SCVs are going to take a lot of damage, and now all we need is a force field to split apart this army, and that's going to be very bad news. And you can see the Marines and the siege tanks unable to push in, and now the Stalkers are being forced to pull back. The probes really need to engage and join in on this fight, as the Marines do not really want to do anything else. There are Marines up on the high ground, siege tanks on the low ground, able to gain sight, and that is very bad news, as another Stalker is going to get destroyed there. Second siege tank now making its way up, as a Colossus is now being added, but it may be too little too late.
Yeah, I think that Colossus is definitely going to be too little too late. 3 siege tanks now, a lot of Marines, and a bunker about to finish. And I think that iPStylin says, you siege me for a moment, I'm going to siege you to end the game. And all the annoyance that Hasuu tried there with the pylon, trying to stop the add-on on the barracks with the extra gas steal, it's not going to pay off, and iPStylin going to win the game quite easily with this push.